Hey, what's up everybody? It's Danny from Hip Hops. Thanks for tuning in. If this is your first time watching, I pair craft beer with vinyl. So I'm gonna be taste testing a beer and then talking a little bit about a record that I'll pair it with. You can follow me on Instagram, which I'll put the link in the description below. That's where I started this whole thing. And I would really appreciate it if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel so I can continue to grow this and see where this goes. So today I'm gonna be pairing up Sidesaddle by Antiques on High, which is a sour dark ale. And I'll be matching that up with Everything All the Time by Band of Horses. Stay tuned, I'll open the beer and give a beer review, as well as talk a little bit about the album and play you 3 of my favorite tracks. Alright, so first up, I'll open the beer. Antiques on High is based out of Columbus, Ohio, and they're the sister brewery of Seven Sun Brewing, which you may have heard of. Sidesaddle is a dark sour ale that's been aged in whiskey barrels for 2 years on orange peel and coconut. And one of the things I really like about the labels that they do is, you can see here, the AOH, the Antiques on High, they have the coconut and then the orange peel. I have another one called Hula Girl, which has pineapple in the lettering. I think it's a nice little touch that they do, as well as having, they have all the statistics of the beer here, including like a sour scale. Most of the stuff they do is wilds and sours and then hazy IPAs, it seemed like. So this beer comes in at 8.9%, and you definitely get the sour smell up front. But if you dig a little deeper, you get, it's almost like what you would consider a dark fruit scent profile. So almost like a dark Belgian beer, but I think that that's also coming from the whiskey barrels. And yeah, you can see it's a very brown beer, and I didn't have this chilled at all, but it's got some chill haze. It almost looks like it's like Coca-Cola in the glass and the same type of fizz. Yeah, it smells like the Belgian candy type of beer, like a darker Belgian. This is very good. It's just slight, it's tart, it's not even sour. I was worried, I saw some people mentioning this was really acidic. I don't think so at all. It's very balanced. It's just tart up front, and then you get a lot of the dark fruit characters and even like a dark sugar character. So I just got back from a trip to Columbus with my wife, and I got to stop at a couple of breweries. I popped into Seven Sun. I wasn't going to be staying in any of the breweries to drink inside or anything, and it was too cold to drink outside. But I picked up a few beers. Seven Sun, I stopped by and I picked up this, as well as a beer called Hula Girl, which I mentioned, which has pineapple in it. I'm excited I haven't opened that one yet either. I'm going to try to find something to pair with it. But I was excited to try these. I got a tip from somebody on Instagram who said that they make pretty good sours, and if I'm able to try them out. Yeah, it's a very interesting beer with the way it blends the sour characteristics with the dark beer characteristics. And it's not dark beer as in stout, it's a dark beer as in like a Belgian, one of those Belgians that you get that's maybe a little sweeter, like a dark ale. Not too sweet, but just that has that burnt sugar characteristic. All right, so Band of Horses. I'm sure most of you are familiar with them. They formed in 2004. This is their debut album. Ben Bridwell is the lead singer and guitarist and founder. He's been the only consistent member throughout their history. This may be their most recognized album. I believe it was their 3rd album. They were nominated for a Grammy. But this album contains their most well-known song, The Funeral. I'll play a little bit of that later, and you're probably gonna recognize it, or if you don't, it's a great song. Band of Horses blends southern rock with sort of an alt country and folk feel. I'd say the most similar, well-known band to them may be something like Kings of Leon, which maybe has a little more rock and roll influence. But this album, I would suggest starting with. They have, I think, 5 albums total now, as well as a live album and a couple of EPs. The album was released by Sub Pop, And this one is just on the black vinyl. I know there's a Coke Bottle Clear repress, I believe was done around 2014 or 2015. This one's just black. It's got the classic Sub Pop inner label there. And to start out with, I will start with track number 4, which is The Funeral. This song has sort of like to me, like an iconic slow guitar riff entering the song, and then it builds up and creates tempo as the song goes on. It's definitely their most well-known song for sure on this album, but check out the recording here. As this starts to warm up, you're still getting the dark fruits. It's like a really ripe dark fruit, but I'm starting to get some of that citrusy note from the orange peel, as well as the coconut is poking through a little bit. I'd say the strongest of the adjuncts is definitely the orange as of right now. The next track I'm gonna play you is track number 2. It's called Wicked Gill. Now this song, I just really like the rhythm of. I've seen a lot of people say this is their favorite song that they've done. Not as well known, but definitely a great track. The third song I'm going to play for you is a slower song. They do a good job in their albums of sort of having the more up-tempo, upbeat songs towards the front, and then the last few songs on the album are slower. I don't know if you want to call them ballads, but they're definitely softer sung, as well as the instrumentation is softer. Early on in the album, you have heavy drums, heavy guitar. A lot of songs are driven by the bass line. But I'm going to play St. Augustine, which is the 10th and last track on the album. Dreaming of choruses, thunderstorms abroad. Let's bury our souls and go haunt someone tonight. I know you tried, I know you're cursed, I know your best was still your worst when Hollywood was calling out your name. St. Augustine. All right, so that's the 3 tracks that I wanted to share with you, give you a little bit of taste of the different vibes of Band of Horses. Now they have other albums. I would suggest checking all of them out. Their first 3 are my favorites of their releases. And they also have, like I said, a live album called Live at the Ryman, or Acoustic at the Ryman, sorry. And definitely also worth checking that out as well. Now the beer is making me wish I would have grabbed more while I was there. I also noticed that the cap is a Seventh Son cap, just to go along with how that's their sister brewery. And Antique on High, I think that was sort of like when a lot of breweries were opening sour programs, and then, hazy IPAs took off. And because of the threat of cross-contamination with the wild yeast that are used in the sour beers and the bacteria that are used in the sour beers, a lot of breweries were starting to either open sort of like an offshoot brewery that would handle that, or they just opened another facility just so that they could eliminate that risk. Because there's a lot of breweries that had cross-contamination, and it sort of ruins everything. So you have your clean beer, and then your inoculated beer, your sour beer, your wild beer. It doesn't necessarily always have to be sour. If you get any of that bacteria or the yeast in your clean beers, it's going to ruin them as far as what you intended the beer to be. And a lot of breweries had to dump a lot of beer when they didn't realize that was going to happen. So this one started in 2018. I'm not exactly sure when Seventh Son opened, but the Columbus beer scene seems to be really big, and I got to stop by Wolf's Ridge as well and pick up a couple beers. It seems to all so far be really good stuff. So I'm excited to try more of their stuff. I just wish I would have grabbed more. Well, thanks for tuning in. Please, like I said, like the video, subscribe, follow me on Instagram. I'll also link the Instagrams of the brewery below and Band of Horses below. And if you want to leave a comment, if there's anything that you want to see, or tell me what your favorite Band of Horses song is, or your favorite Band of Horses album, or if you've had Antique on High, or if you've had any Seventh Son beers, or anything from Columbus, let me know what your favorite's been. I'd love to hear it, and maybe next time I'm through Columbus or in Ohio, I can try and pick up some. Anyways, until next week, cheers.